Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa. If you're new here, thank you for being here today. I'm bringing you another series that I am starting. I love doing projects and grow out experiments, all kinds of stuff. I just find it so fascinating and I love experimenting just for the fun of it, even if the outcome isn't what I want, it's still fun for me. So I was browsing the other night and I came across a listing that said reverted pink venom. So that intrigued me because alocasias, variegated plants, are right up my alley. It said bought for $1,000, try your luck, and it was listed for $150. I reached out to them after to find out more about the possible lineage and history with this plant. It came last night and I'll show you it and kind of my plan, and we'll get it set up today as like the first initial step and kind of give you my thoughts, and hopefully something cool will come out of this. If not, it'll just be a fun experiment. I just love browsing late at night and coming across random shit that I'm just interested in. I don't know if it's good for the wallet though, because sometimes I get tempted into buying stuff like I did with this one. But I was like, hi, just wanted to let you know the plant arrived safely. I don't want to give where I got this at, like who sold it and where it came from. I just would rather keep that private, I guess. I don't want to put somebody in a video if they don't really want to be, you know what I mean? So I was like, just wanted to let you know the plant arrived safely. Thank you so much for all the extras. They just had like little stuff in the box. You know, a lot of shops give like little freebies and stuff out. I was curious if there was anything you can tell me about this one. Is it from a specific clone or lineage? I'd love to know a little bit more about its background. If you have any details, thanks again. They responded immediately. They were like, hi, it was a first generation TC from China. They sold it to me as sectoral pink venom TC for a lot of money. And they did a little laughing emoji. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. And they were very nice and said, no problem. Hope she gives you some nice corms. I'm like, me too. It'll be a fun project to follow. Thanks again. They said it was a first generation TC from China, and they sold it as sectoral pink venom TC, which is tissue culture. That means it was expected to produce like larger blocks of pink or sectors, not like just fine marbling. So that's exciting if that's what it was expected to produce. And if they paid $1,000, that makes sense, because if it was one of the first TCs out of the lab from China, then, you know, it makes sense because they weren't as widespread as they are now, you know. And first generation, it usually means one of the first batches that are coming out of a lab, you know, before they reach the actual market. I'll show you the plant here in a second. It currently has it has 5 leaves. So it's reverted, 4 reverted leaves. So if I did decide to chop it back in the future, it's possible that there's some pink tissue within the rhizome. I don't know if the variegation pattern would be the same, because each bud comes from a different group of cells, or it originates from a different group of cells. But it's exciting nonetheless. So there is potential with that if I decide to chop the rhizome. I think what I want to do before I attempt to chop the rhizome would be growing out some corms. So what I would do is grow it out a little bit longer, enough for it to produce some corms, harvest the corms, see what they grow out, and then I could do the little rhizome chopping experiment. I'd be very curious to know what corms would do from this reverted mother. There is a little corm forming already on this plant. It's in stratum and I can see it from the outside, so it'll be very exciting to grow those corms out. But what I'm gonna do with you today is I kind of let it settle. I already opened it. I have it in the box right here. It was pretty hot. It did travel for a couple days and it was pretty hot, so I wanted to go ahead and unbox it really quick last night. I didn't want it to stay overnight in a box. The stratum was a little bit dried out, so I gave it a little bit of water last night, and it kind of perked up a little bit. It was just a little bit droopy, so it looks more hydrated. And so what I want to do is go ahead and transfer it to a more airy stratum mix with some perlite, and then put it in its own little acrylic humidity dome with a grow light on top. It'll be, that way it's quarantined, and then it can get its own special light and all that extra humidity to hopefully help it grow. So let me go ahead and show you the plant and what it's currently looking like. I do like that the seller, obviously paying $1,000 for a TC that is supposed to be, you know, sectoral pink, you would want to hold it back and see what it does. And it looks like they gave it a fair shot to me. That was my initial thought. Is the leaf right here, you can see where there is some pink. And they did grow it out to 4 leaves, so it looks like that was maybe the next one. Oh no, this was probably the next one, since this one is smaller, and then that one. And then this is one, and this is one. So they did give it 4 leaves, and it's not expressing any more pink, so they were probably just like, okay, I'm done growing this plant, I'm moving on. Maybe someone else, and that's what the listing, that's how I took it, is someone else can try your luck and see if you can get pink. So I'm very excited to try my luck. So yeah, it came, this is how it came shipped to me, and I added some water in here last night, but you can actually see there's a little bulbule. It's not quite a corm yet, but you can see there's one forming right there, which is very exciting. I really hate to disturb it, but knowing me, these little cups for me dry out so fast. It is going to stay in its own little humidity chamber, but I would like to get it into a little bit more of an airy substrate in a bigger vessel, and I'm going to let it stay in there, and I'll eventually transfer it to semi-hydro. But I'm going to let it grow and stabilize. I don't know how many leaves I'll let it grow to, at least enough until I can get some corms, and then I may try chopping it back, because I am very curious to see what would happen with that. I don't know if any more pink would eventually grow, but after 4 reverted leaves, I think it's usually 3 is what people wait, right? 3 leaves, and then after that, it's pretty much reverted. The pink on this original leaf is definitely muted now, but even if it doesn't do anything, like, I don't have my hopes up. Obviously, it'd be cool to have something happen or turn out from this, but nonetheless, it's just a fun experiment for me, and it's an alocasia, which I'm obsessed with alocasia, so it'll be fun to see what happens for sure. It's cool to me that it originated from an early batch, you know, like a first generation. I'm excited though, nonetheless. It'll be fun to experiment. I don't see any other pink or any type of variegation or anything. All right, let's go ahead and quickly repot this guy and get him situated, and then it'll probably be a bit before I actually make a follow-up video. I'll take some footage, and you know, if I end up harvesting some corms, I'll film that obviously and take you along through that process, but it'll probably be a bit before I have like any update. But what I'll do is save this under a separate playlist, so I can save all the videos of this to that, but I just wanted to make an initial video of this and just let you know I'm starting a new project. It does have 5 leaves, and I feel like that's a pretty good size, and usually alocasias in my hot rooms, they size up and grow pretty quickly. So I do expect this guy to kind of size up for me here. So yeah, let's go ahead and go to the sink. I have a little bowl here. I'm just going to kind of gently dump this out. I don't want to accidentally knock off that little corm that's trying to form. I just want to make it a little bit more airy. It would have been easier doing this last night when it was dry, but I really wanted to let it kind of hydrate overnight. Yeah, look how tiny that is. I gotta be very gentle to not knock that off. Oh, it has another one. Very tiny. Do you see it right there? Super, super tiny. Looks like it may have had another couple of leaves. You can see like the sheath here. So I wonder if any of these like original first leaves had much pink on them. I don't really have much of a rhizome now that I'm looking at it. I was trying to see without knocking this corm. Well, I do have a little bit of a rhizome actually. There's actually one trying to form right off the base of the rhizome too. I don't know if that's picking up, like right there. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop before I knock these corms off because I don't want to knock them off prematurely. Okay, I have some stratum and perlite mix right here. I'm gonna add a scoop of a little bit thicker perlite right here, and I'm going to kind of mix this in just for a little bit more airflow, especially because it's going into like a pretty humid dome setup. So I added some like coarser perlite. And I'm going to very gently pot him in here. Add a little bit of water. And I'm going to quickly clean the leaves as well. All right, here she goes. She's all potted. Kind of our coarse stratum mix. And I gave her leaves a wipe down just with a pesticide in case there were any hitchhikers. She definitely looks a little bit more perky. And I have her little acrylic case right here. I'm gonna sit her inside and add a grow light on top. I'm gonna leave her over in my quarantine area. I'll show you. I don't want this to stay too wet. I actually might dump a little bit more water out. It's a little too high because these humidity domes can get pretty humid. So I'll have to open it and let some airflow in because I don't really have another fan to use at the moment. I'm really excited for this. I love grow out projects. So she is producing some corms. I'm gonna let them get bigger and then it'll be so exciting to see what happens. Could you imagine though, could you imagine if I get some pink offspring? That would be pretty cool. Okay, so I have it set up like that with a grow light on top. I may add a second grow light, we'll see. I'm just gonna do the one for now. It'll be next to all my other alocasias in quarantine. That'll be her little home for the time being. I'm gonna take this down, open this up, and we're gonna slide her right in here. I was gonna say, I might need to I have some extra risers I could sit her on so she's a little bit closer to the light. You know what I mean? Let's see, I might do that. I might get a riser. Looks like this here, just like a little acrylic riser. I'm gonna add her on that. That down. There, that way she's a little bit closer. We'll kind of do it like that for now. So that'll be her home. She'll get pretty good conditions, good humidity. I may add a second grow light, we'll see, because I have extra strip lights. I can add another one. And I'll just have to make sure that there's no molding going on, because I don't have any extra fans for the time being, so I may just vent her every so often. I will get her transitioned to my plant room after quarantine. After about 4 weeks, I'll give it a little bit of time just to make sure she's pest free. Alocasias love my plant room because it's so warm in there consistently, especially this time of year. They just explode in growth and they get huge in there. So yeah, in about a month's time, I'll move her in there. I'm not gonna disturb, but I will transfer her to semi-hydro, like in a small pot, after she kind of stabilizes and grows some more roots. Hopefully by the time I actually go to do that, those corms that were forming would be big enough that I could pull a couple. But we'll see. That'll probably be the next video after this one, is potting her up, moving her into my plant room in her new home, and then we'll check for some corms. So I hope you're looking forward to this project. I think it'll be fun to see what happens regardless of the outcome. I think it'll be fun to see the progression of this plant in some time. It is just really fun for me to do these types of videos. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And then maybe I would look for the video in about 6 to 8 weeks, roughly, give or take. We'll do a follow-up. But until then, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.